What up, YouTube? This is Steven, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about and give my review of the Lifetime biopic movie, Britney Ever After. And Britney Ever After is a biopic movie that Lifetime put together about Britney Spears' life. And right off the bat, from the get-go, you could kind of see this is going to be a train wreck. For the simple fact that Britney didn't sign off on it. She didn't give her approval for this. So, she wasn't going to be contributing to this movie in any way. And also because they didn't have the rights to her music. And I'm like, well, this is about Britney Spears. This is about, this is about a music artist. Second, this is about Britney Spears. Like, Britney Spears got hits that don't quit, that stick like grits. Like, come on, like, Baby One More Time, You Drive Me Crazy, Oops, I Done Did It Again, I'm a Slave for You, Toxic, Womanizer, like, her signature hits, And they didn't have the rights to those songs, so obviously this movie ain't gonna be all that in a bag of chips. This movie is gonna be, none of that in a bag of stale Cheetos. This movie was gonna be a mess. Just from that. So the movie kind of starts off with, like, more or less like Britney. It's supposed to be kind of like they're doing it in the style of the I Am Britney Jean documentary. I never actually watched that documentary, but despite that, I am a fan. I do know a lot about Britney Spears. I don't know everything, but I definitely know a lot about Britney Spears. Enough to know when things ain't, well, really, you don't, even for this movie, you don't even have to know a lot about Britney Spears to know that this ain't where it's at. But yeah, definitely. So this movie kind of starts off with, like, Britney in front of, like, the camera, and she's kind of like saying things to the camera. Well, they're asking her questions, and then they kind of go back to, like, 1998. A very significant year in Britney Spears' career, because that's when she came on the scene and released her first single, Baby One More Time, and the rest was history. The rest was history when she did that. Like, she submitted herself into, like, music history, like musical history, like history period. Just from that song alone, she came out, like, swinging with that song. I'm telling you. Me personally, like, back in that time, I remember hearing that song, but I wasn't, like, on board the Britney train just yet. Well, I'll save it. I'll let you know when I hop on board a little bit later. Yeah. But yeah, I'm like, okay, so they're back in 1998, and, like, her manager Larry Rudolph is, like, driving this van with her friends and family members, and they're trying to get into this building or whatever. And then Britney's with her mom. Well, she's with her family, including her parents. Although Brian wasn't present, I don't think Brian was present. Like, her older brother Brian, I don't think they showed him at all in this movie. I don't think so. I'm like, how y'all gonna do her older brother like that? I'm sure her older brother, how everyone in her family but her older brother is present. And, like, they got, her mama, her daddy, her sister, Jamie Lynn. They got Felicia. They got the manager, Larry Rudolph. They even have her boyfriend, Reg, who I didn't even know she was even with Reg during this time era. I thought that was, like, way back in Kentwood. And once she got famous, she was just taking all over the place. So, even before then, she just broke up with the dude or whatever. And I only know about that dude because, like, some tabloids or whatever did some digging on Britney Spears and trying to find out, like, a hit list and who, like, the first person, like, she hit it with. And I'm like, that is kind of grimy for the tabloids to be trying to do something like that and, dig up, her history, and whatnot, her hit list history. But, the tabloids are, grimy folk. So you can't expect much from grimy folk, right? So yeah, I actually do know that dude Reg, or know of him, you know. And I'll say that Larry Rudolph had received like a really good portrayal in this movie. In my personal opinion, I'm not quite. I'll assume that this is a portrayal, an accurate portrayal of Larry Rudolph, because I don't really know much about him. I do know of him because he was Britney Spears' manager at that time. You know, but I don't know if he was like all up in her personal business to the point of like that they was making it out to be in the movie, though. You know. See, her dad got a terrible portrayal, and I feel like it's partially true, but they made him just seem like a drunk alcoholic, and the dude they got playing him looks like Gary Busey. I'm like, her dad don't look like no Gary Busey, like, and the dude is a blonde, and her dad's like a brunette, like he has black hair. So I was like, what? Like, I feel like that may be somewhat accurate, but they just had her dad looking kind of like, for a lot of the movie until like the end, they had him looking pretty like kind of like just angry drunk dude. And there was some rumors, and in the rumor mill, saying that he did have a drinking problem and whatnot and all that. But I don't like, was he drinking when Britney Spears was backstage about to go on set? I don't know. I don't know. It could be true. It could not be true. But like the thing is, like, no one in like Britney Spears and no one in her group really like gave or contributed anything. So this is purely based on tabloids. Purely based on what we hear in the media. It's not about like um what we can get from the information we know to be true from people who were actually there. So a lot of times in the movie, I was like, is this portrayal, like, is this actually what happened? And really, you shouldn't be wondering that in a biopic, you know? And Britney Spears' portrayal in the movie was, they didn't, they missed out on, like, dang, like, it's so many problems I have with Britney Spears' portrayal in that movie. But first, I'll say that Britney Spears is like the actress that was playing Britney Spears. And no shade to her, because I know she probably like an upcoming actress just trying to get some work and whatnot. But I don't feel like she was the best person as far as looks to take the role, because I don't think she was really that reminiscent of Britney Spears. And also, this may sound a little, a little petty and maybe even slightly perverted, but I don't think she even had like the body type to portray Britney Spears, because Britney Spears, like, she had like Britney Spears has like sort of like a modest curvy body. Like, it's not like Nicki Minaj type curvy, but it was sort of like a good amount of, it had like, her body had like a good amount of TNA, a good amount of sex appeal with it, and that was part of the reason why she was able to become famous. Like, her sex appeal, that was part of her fame. Like, that's part of the reason why she was able to get into the game. Well, part of the reason that people were checking for her and looking at her videos and stuff like that, and even checking out her music, because like her body and her sex appeal. And I personally don't feel like Natasha Bassett, the name of the actress, had that look to her to portray Britney accurately. Am I the only one who noticed that, though? Am I the only one? I know, like, I can't be the only one. I know I can't be. Shout out to Ashley Miller. She posted a review, and she mentioned that. So I'm like, all right, she get it. Like, she get it. Like, we on the same page with that. Let's see. So we're back in like 1998 during the Baby One More Time era, right? Very significant era, because that's her most successful era. She sold the most. That her, Baby One More Time is her best-selling album. She went. She didn't go gold. She didn't go platinum. She didn't even go multi-platinum. She went diamond the first time up to bat. Grand slam, and that wasn't touched on. Her record sales weren't touched on at all in this movie. And Britney got mad record sales, got awesome record sales. That wasn't mentioned in this movie at all. Like, how you gonna? You gotta say something about her impact to the music scene. How she raised the bar for all these chicks out here now. Like how back then, like if you were a white female artist, a white female solo artist, you got compared to Britney Spears when you came out. That was part of her impact too. Like Christina Aguilera compared to Britney, Mandy Moore compared to Britney, Jessica Simpson compared to Britney, even Pink compared to Britney. Heck, even like even probably like Beyonce is probably have had like a Britney Spears comparison at one point or another. Like she was kind of like Britney. She kind of like was the standard, and at one point the record companies were trying to find their own Britney Spears. So at one point during like the early 2000s, it was like a whole like swarm of like wannabe pop princesses coming on the scene. So they didn't really touch on any of her like her musical legacy and her contribution to the music industry, her impact, and how she helped kind of like alter the landscape of pop music. None of that. They ain't touch on none of that. And like, I know Britney has like a really interesting life that can be, and she has a long career in a very interesting personal life. And I know that's a lot to cram into a movie, especially a movie that would went on for like a little less than an hour and a half. I know that's a lot, but they didn't touch on it at all. I don't know what this movie was supposed to really. What was the What was the point? What were we supposed to leave the movie? Like, what message were we supposed to leave the movie with? That's the yeah. So yeah. So that was kind of like the Baby One More Time era. They didn't really say anything about Crazy. You Drive Me Crazy. They ain't really touch on that song. Which again was a significant song because it's one of her signature songs. You know. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the Baby One More Time era. As far as the Oops, I Did It Again era, they didn't touch on that pretty much at all. And that was a significant error. Like, all her errors are significant, for various reasons. But especially Oops, I Did It Again, because that was the era that it was her sophomore effort, It was her follow-up to Baby One More Time. Her record that broke, her album that broke so many records, that set the bar so high for all these other artists out here. She went diamond the first time out, and her, like, they didn't have the rights to Oops, I Did It Again, so they couldn't really do anything with, but they didn't touch on the fact that, Britney was nervous. Britney was nervous about that. I'm sure her team was nervous because they're like, this is a very significant, and very crucial follow-up album, because this is going to set the tone. Is Britney just like a flash in the pan, or is she here to stay? Because some people probably did write her off like, okay, she just some pop ad that's going to fade away. But Oops, I Did It Again helps solidify her into, music history. When she released Oops, I Did It Again, she was, I think it sold like 1.5 million copies the first week out. Just the first week, 1.5 million copies. 1.5 million copies first week out. And she held the record for a female artist having the best opening sales until very recently. In the United States, at least, until like Adele had snatched the record. But Side note, I'm going to give a shout out to Utada Hikaru because before Adele snatched the record from everybody, Utada Hikaru had the best-selling um, opening sales for her debut album, First Love. It was released in Japan. A lot of people probably like, who is Utada Hikaru? But, you know, basically, you know, she's from the United States. She was born and raised in NYC, you know, Manhattan, New York. And she had like a very, she had like the record internationally for the best-selling male or female best-selling sales opening week. You know. All right, sidebar over, and back to Britney. All right, so Oops, I Did It Again. Again, very significant in Britney Spears' career, the album and the song as well. The song, like, who don't know that song? You know, who don't know that song, Oops, I Did It Again? You may not like it, but that song was a very significant song in the 2000s era. You may not like it. Again, you don't gotta like it, but you know it. That's the thing. You know the song. And also, like, Britney Spears and her people, like, she was performing that song everywhere too. She was performing that song like on Saturday Night Live, The View, Tops of Pop, um, just Good Morning America or the Today Show, like one of them type of shows, like all over the place, like all that. Like she was performing that song everywhere. She really, like, her and her team really, they really invested in that song. Ultimately, their investment paid off, although I did hear that the song kind of ran out of steam a little earlier than they expected, but the song did its job. You know, it wasn't a #1 hit. It stalled at #9, but that song is iconic. A ton of people know that song, and it's a part of pop music history. So, mission accomplished. Like, they didn't touch on that either, I guess because they didn't have the rights to the music. And I'm just like, what the, like Britney has so much, like, it's just seemed like, you know, they ain't really trying to show Britney in her totality. They're just trying to show like the tabloids type of stuff, you know, the behind the scenes gritty type of stuff, like her relationship with Justin Timberlake or her relationship with Kevin Federline, her 55-hour quickie marriage, you know, her shaving her head, her you know, going crazy with an umbrella or getting, you know, put in a psych ward for that 5150 whole thing. They're just showing that stuff. And by the way, that umbrella scene was not played out right because she attacked a paparazzi's car. She didn't attack like the people around the paparazzi. Like, you know, she didn't attack the paparazzis with the, she didn't, like, she attacked the car. She beat it up. And that photo is very infamous. That photo of Britney with a shaved head, an umbrella in hand, and hitting a car. And they caught her at like the craziest moment too. She looked like she's going mad, you know. So then they messed up that scene. Just like they messed up pretty much the whole damn movie. You know, they messed up pretty much. Let's see, the Britney era. Not to be confused with the Britney Jean era, but the Britney era, the third album. They didn't really touch on that much, other than "I'm a Slave for You," and they didn't really touch on that much. They just mentioned it. But the Britney era was, you know, a significant era because it was kind of like, okay, Britney Spears is sort of like, this is her third album. They, like, the audience kind of knows her well enough at this point. So it's kind of like, this is the point in a lot of artists' career. The third album is often the point when artists sort of either go on in the music industry or stop in the music industry. Britney ultimately went on, but this was a significant portion of, you know, Britney in her career because her record sales were lower than her previous record sales. You know, they weren't as strong as, like, you know, "Oops, I Did It Again" or "Baby One More Time." You know, "Oops, I Did It Again," she went diamond again. However, Britney, she didn't go diamond with Britney. um, and They didn't talk about her movie Crossroads, how she filmed the movie Crossroads during the Britney era. they missed out on a lot of things. But then again, to be fair, Britney does have a lot of things to talk about because she does have such a long career. Her career does span, at this point, 3 decades, the late 90s, 2000s, and now. So that is a lot to talk about, to be fair. But yeah, they did miss out on some stuff. And during that era, that was when Britney and Justin were kind of like having issues in their relationship, and they ultimately broke up. And that also was a point when her parents divorced too. So she was dealing with like the divorce of her parents, but also the breakup of Justin too. So that probably did play sort of like with her mind a little bit, sort of a tough time for her. Let's see more about the Britney era. I think that's pretty much it. I say the In the Zone era. I think that's when Kevin Federline came into play. And thankfully, they didn't show too much of Kevin Federline in this movie. Thankfully, I really didn't want to see Kevin Federline that much. K-Fed. I didn't really want to see him that much. That whole situation is kind of annoying. I didn't mind, I don't mind the Justin Timberlake scenes. Although those scenes were, a little corny and kind of, cheesy. But I didn't really mind those scenes. I thought they were kind of, cute and, even like slightly romantic. But also, you notice that they kind of portray Britney as somewhat of a vamp. Like she's almost like constantly like, horny and ready for sex. Like in her personal life, kind of like that. I feel like they kind of did that. But then again, people are going to say, well, that's kind of like how she's portrayed in her public image, like when she's on like stage and stuff. Okay. But yeah, I just thought that was a little weird though. Let's see. And, the problems with her and Justin, like they show her and like Wade Robinson being kind of like close while he was showing her some dance moves or whatever. And Justin saw it and he was acting kind of funny about it, There was one scene at this club where Britney had said Britney and Justin got into some argument, and Britney said like, "I'm not the one slipping in the charts," and Justin got mad and he left. And she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." I'm like, did that really happen? Because I don't even think Justin was a solo artist at that point. He was still with NSYNC, I think. And also, that's the thing too with this movie. Like they kind of was like at one point they were like in 2007, then back in 2003, and then back in 2008, and then back in like they were kind of like all over the place. This movie didn't go in like chronological order, which was a little weird. But I'm guessing because they wanted to. I don't know. I'm not completely sure why they didn't just go in chronological order. And also, they didn't show any of Britney Spears as like her working hard. Her putting in work to, like get to where she's at. Like Britney put in work. And I know Britney Spears got a lot of haters, especially back then. She had like major haters. I know Britney got a lot of haters, but you can't say that she didn't put in work to get to where she is, And really, I think that's part of the reason why Britney was able to even make a comeback after all that stuff that happened in 2007. After the, losing custody of her kids, after shaving her head, after, getting put into a psych ward or getting put into a mental hospital or something on a 5150 hold, after her divorce from Kevin Federline, like, after, I think I mentioned her shaving her head, after beating the car up with an umbrella, she was able to make a comeback from all that. And that speaks to, the work that Britney Spears put in previously, because a lot of times the public don't give you a second chance to come back, depending on who you are. But Britney got a second chance to come back because the public really knows her. You know, the public at one point was beating her down, but then it got to a point when they were rooting for her and really like encouraging her to come back. And I think when it came to the 2008 VMAs, I think that's part of the reason why she won so many awards, because the fans know, the real fans know, like Britney Spears, the award shows often don't show Britney Spears that much love, other than the Billboard awards, and that's because of music sales. It's based on music sales. But like she didn't win like the best new artist for the Grammys. She didn't win best video of video of the year for Oops I Did It Again. Like she got passed up so many times for VMAs and Grammys as well. But the 2008 VMAs was a little weird for me because I'm like, well, I guess I know why they're doing this. It seemed like maybe just to encourage Britney to keep on pushing forward and to help her and give her encouragement to keep pushing forward. Like they see that she's seemingly is headed in the right direction of trying to get well, trying to get her career back on track. So they encourage her like, hey, we love Piece of Me, we love your album, Blackout. She won Video of the Year for her video Piece of Me from the VMAs 2008. And I'm like, okay, that's good that, the VMAs and MTV finally recognized Britney. Unfortunately, it had to get to this point where they recognized her, though. I know I kind of jumped around in the eras a little bit myself. Back to the In the Zone era. So that's when K-Fed came along and he was like, Britney was infatuated with him. I guess, K-Fed probably had the good T and the good D for her and that she was loving it. Unfortunately, she made the mistake of trying to plan a whole marriage around that. That didn't go so well. But, she got her kids. She got her 2 sons. So, at least she got something good out of the marriage, right? And, in the movie Britney said something to the extent of, she wouldn't call that mistake. Well, she wouldn't call that relationship with Kevin Federline and the marriage a mistake because she got her children out of it. So I can understand her feelings on that. Then we kind of get to the era when, Britney takes her hiatus from the industry. She takes a break from this music industry and whatnot. And during the break, that's when like her and K-Fed get married. And all the tabloid stuff start coming on about like K-Fed cheating, Trouble in Paradise, like, all that stuff. And then that manager not Larry Rudolph, the manager that came during 2007, Sam something, I'm not sure of his last name, but I know who he is. That shady manager, that dude is shady. Because I think I heard that he was like slipping in some like drug into Britney Spears' food or something. And I think that may have been part of the reason why Britney Spears was going through the things she was going through, But yeah. So Blackout happened, the Blackout era, which is kind of short because the Blackout era, it's not a bad era. I've actually been listening to the Blackout era, Blackout CD, often lately, And, Britney wasn't at the best place in her life during that era, but I'll say that they were, Britney and her team were able to come out with some really good songs. Like, Britney Spears was very emotive during that era, like, because you would think that her songs wouldn't be as good during that era, but that CD you could probably put the CD in and play it all the way through because pretty much the majority of the songs are hitting, if not all of them hitting. Great songs. Unfortunately, the album wasn't promoted because Britney Spears was going through her issues. The only promotional performance she did of the song was Give Me More, and that was the VMAs 2007. And also the VMA performances in general. Let me speak about the 2007 performance first, and then I'll go back and speak about the other ones, because they showed these in the movie too, but they didn't do a good. They did a terrible job of the performances in the movie. Um, 2007 VMA performances. That you know, the performance was very hyped up. It was so much promo for that performance. If you remember back in 2007, because it was like, oh, Britney Spears going through all this stuff, and they're showing it in the media, but also they're like, Britney Spears is trying to make a comeback too, and it's getting hyped up. And plus, Britney Spears has a history of doing very iconic and entertaining VMA performances. So this performance is very hyped up. And in the movie, they show like some behind the scenes stuff that I'm not sure that even happened. Like they show like Justin Timberlake trying to talk to Britney Spears before the 2007 VMA performance of "Give Me More." I'm not sure if that happened. So she gets out on stage and she, performs. And in the movie, they just got her looking just straight up terrible in this movie. I know that performance was not all that in a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. I know that. But she didn't look that bad. She didn't look that bad now. They got her looking like she just straight up just got on stage and just like, just doing nothing in particular on stage. And if you look back at that performance, Britney Spears was doing stuff on stage. It just wasn't anything spectacular. That's the thing, because that performance was so hyped. It just was like, that's it. And that's how I was feeling when I watched it. I was like, all this hype, like, that's it. Because we watching it and we waiting, and she's opening the show too. That's the first performance of the night, and you know, people in the audience too. The audience was cheering for her and being nice about it. They weren't, throwing shade. People say that Rihanna kind of threw some shade, but some people say that she was laughing at like the stripper that was in front of her that was dancing on the pole, not Britney. And then they had like a shot of like 50 Cent, and then the Chris Brown shot at the end. Like, oh, but he clapped. He and like Chris Brown and Britney Spears were once on the same label at one point, Jive Records, by the way. And so cheering on it, his label mate. So that's cool. you know. But yeah, that media performance got you know universally panned by the media. Like they went in, and the media couldn't wait to go in on Britney Spears for that performance. They loved it. The media loved it. You type in Britney Spears 2007 VMA performance, give me more, or something like that into the search engine. Look at all the articles they wrote about it. Look at the media coverage of it. Like so much, they talk so much garbage. But what really annoyed me about the media coverage was that they were body shaming her. She got body shamed by the media, and like her body didn't even look bad. You know how many women would want to have that body type at the end of the day? I mean, she had like a little, a slight little pudge here, but it wasn't. They made it seem like she was like Rosie O'Donnell putting on this performance. No shade to Rosie O'Donnell. I'm just like she was like Monique putting on this performance. Like no, trust me, she was like, and I'm like, dang, like why the media body shaming her like this for? And the thing is, it was women. A lot of the folks were women body shaming her. I mean, probably a couple of dudes here and there may have said little slight remarks here and there, but at the end of the day, it was like women and like maybe some gay dudes, body shaming her. I'm like, why y'all body shaming Britney Spears like that for? Like, cause she don't look like she did in like 2000, 2001. So that part kind of pissed me off. That didn't have anything to do with the movie, but just like the media coverage of it really pissed me off when it came to the body shaming part of it. Like, why y'all body shaming Britney for? This is the reason why we got folks, so many people with body image issues as it is because of this, And to keep it real, that's a lot of women's target weight. That's a lot of women's target body shape, target physique. A lot of women would That's like their goal. Keep it real. If they look like that, they'll probably be fine. They're like, I'm good, you know. um, so yeah, and so that, I guess that was pretty much the blackout era. And then oh yeah, I forgot the previous VMA performances. Okay, so let's start back with the VMA performance for 2000. We all know she performed in 1999, but ain't nobody ever really checking for it. I don't even think Britney remember it. I heard in an interview that she didn't even know she performed back in 1999. So 2000, she performed a medley of "Can't Get No Satisfaction," cover of the Rolling Stones song, and "Oops, I Did It Again," a remix rocked up, edgy version of "Oops, I Did It Again." And in the performance, she did like her infamous and iconic striptease when she came out in a suit, and then she was singing, and then you kind of know, it's like, oh, the suit's kind of looking like it's about to fall off, and then she's like, I can't get no strip, bam. So she just takes off the suit and then it reveals like this suit or this bodysuit beneath it that's like a flesh tone bodysuit with like glitter on it. And she's singing the song "I Can't Get No Satisfaction," but you notice like Britney Spears, she did a cover of that song. That's a Rolling Stones song, but she did a cover of it. So she did a cover of that song, and in the song, in her version, she changed the lyrics around to something to the extent of like, I can't, like, they telling me how tight my skirt should be. So in Britney's version, they're telling her how tight her skirt should be. In the Rolling Stones version, they said, you're telling me how white my shirt should be. In this performance in the movie, they had Britney performing to the original musical composition of the song, first of all, which was a rock song, but Britney did it as an R&B pop song. Second, they changed it. Then, excuse me, they didn't sing the lyrics correctly to Britney Spears' version. They sung the lyrics correctly to the Rolling Stones version. So Britney in the movie sung, telling me how white my shirt should be. But not even that. Not even that. It's like, how white my shirt should be. But the original version, it was like an R&B pop remix of it. But she, Britney caught some flack for that because the Rolling Stones song was, a legendary rock song. But in the original version, she's like, telling me, Britney version, the original Britney Spears version of the cover, she's like, telling me how tight my skirt should be. I can't get no, So yeah, I caught that. If you are a super fan, you probably catch that. If you really know Britney, you could probably catch that. So yeah, and the outfit that they had her wearing in the movie, I'm like, really? That's the best. That's the best your wardrobe team could come up with. They had her coming out in like this. I think she was wearing like boots, like high heel, like these high thigh boots, like hooker boots, and a coat, sort of like maybe a coat that sort of stopped around her upper thighs. But that wasn't the outfit though, and that wasn't the striptease either. She just took off the coat. That wasn't the striptease. The striptease came out of nowhere. The striptease like that was part of the reason why that performance is so iconic. That's part of the reason why Britney Spears is here today. Partially because of that performance. 2001 performance they didn't really touch on, thankfully. I just guess they didn't really want to deal with trying to well, I don't think they did it partially because they didn't probably have any music to do it to. Because if you notice, the music that she performs to in the movie, they're cover songs. Because they don't have the rights to Britney Spears' actual songs. So the Rolling Stones song, Um, I think that Elvis song that she did at the very beginning of "Give Me More," and um, "I Love Rock and Roll" too. That came up out of nowhere. That's when Kevin Federline came on the scene. And then they started show some performance of "I love rock and roll, put a little time in the jukebox, baby. I love rock and roll," and you know the major, the super fans know that Britney does actually have a music video for that song "I Love Rock and Roll." It's a cover song originally by the Arrows, made popular by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. That's how it is. A lot of people think that it was Joan Jett and the Blackhearts originally, but it was actually a band called the Arrows, I think. So yeah, Britney, they had Britney in the movie performing that song out of nowhere for some reason. I don't know why. I'm like that song. Like the average person don't really know that song. You don't that Britney performed that song. There is a music video of it, and Britney has performed that song like on her tour, back in 2001, "Dream Within a Dream," and currently in her residency. But well, we know why they chose the song because that's the only song they really had. But I'm just saying, it's like really. um, so 2001 VMA performance. 2003 VMA performance, they just showed Britney leaving the stage from the whole Madonna, Christina Aguilera, Missy Elliott performance when they performed and did a tribute to Madonna. They just showed her leaving the stage and her asking about Justin Timberlake. Like, I think you need to move on, honey. You need to just move on from him. And that's another thing. They showed Britney in the movie as sort of like just, very desperate for a male attention and love, and looking crazy. And if I didn't mention it already, I think I already mentioned that, so never mind. Yeah, but I was just gonna say they had Britney Spears' dad looking like Gary Busey, or the dude playing Britney Spears' dad looked like Gary Busey. But I think I already mentioned it. But I'm not sure if I did or didn't. But yeah. What else? So they didn't really touch on they didn't show any performances of 2003 VMAs. So as far as the performances in general, they all look like they took place on the same stage. If you need to keep it real, they just reworked the stage a little bit. uh, uh, it's a Lifetime movie, though. Can I really expect much from a Lifetime movie? I don't think so. What else? So I guess we can go into the Circus era. They didn't really touch on that much, but that's an important era too. All her eras are important, of course, but that's an important era because that was like her actual comeback era, the Circus era, and how she came back with Womanizer, and also like how Britney and her team strategically started to do promotional performances in Europe first. They didn't do them first in America. They did them in Europe first, and then the media in the United States were like covering Britney doing performances in Europe, like on like shows like X Factor, Star Academy, probably a few other shows that I can't think of. But she did a few promotional performances. I think she also did one in Japan for like I think Pop Jam or Music Jam. I'm not sure, but she did do one, at least one in Japan as well. So that was like her and her team doing that to kind of like strategically kind of like drum up like some suspense in the media. So when she comes to the United States, like folks ready, and like Womanizer became a number one hit, and Me personally, the music video for Womanizer, this is a bit of a sidebar, but the music video was kind of like a remake of the music video for Toxic, but, you know, we let it slide. You know, we let it slide. We was just happy that Britney was finally back. Although she wasn't dancing like she used to, though. But still, you know, she back. So, you know, thankfully she was able to come back, because usually, especially at that point, a lot, like myself included, I was like, it seemed like Britney Spears might end up in the obituary section. Like, I hope not, but it seemed like this is where it's headed to. Thankfully, which the movie did touch on. I'll give them credit for that. They did touch on this. They could have went a little bit deeper with it, but they did touch on this. Thankfully, her parents stepped in when they saw, like, that this situation was just getting worse and worse. You know, like Britney Spears just didn't seem to be able to get out of this situation that she was in. Thankfully, her parents stepped in. Lynn and Jamie. They stepped in and, you know, got Britney Spears the help that she needed, you know. As well, even a shout out to Kevin Federline for stepping up and being a dad. You know, even though some people can say, you know, he getting that child support money, but still, you know, thankfully he stepped up so that, you know, the grandparents didn't have to step up to the plate and be parents to their grandchildren. You know, so thankfully, you know, K-Fed stepped up to the plate, and, you know, he's a custodial father, so, you know, I'll give him a little shout out for that. You know, he is getting, you know, a pretty decent child support check. I think he gets like $20,000 a month the last time I checked for child support, you know. Which for Britney isn't really that much money, you know. Last time I heard, which was a while ago, you know, her royalty checks per month were like over $700,000. Like, dang. I'm like, whoa. I don't even think I made that much in my whole life. Ooh. So I feel like I've touched on pretty much the major things in the movie. I think so. I feel like there's some stuff that I'm forgetting. But I found this article that was online that was posted on usatoday.com. And in this article, they kind of list 6 missteps that the Britney Spears biopic movie did, you know. So I'll kind of go through them and talk about them and see if I could think of some other stuff to say, you know, because I feel like I'm missing something. Let's see. So the first misstep, and they're doing kind of like puns based off of her songs. So this first misstep is entitled, "Oops, I Missed It Again." Right. For a biopic that relies so heavily on speculation and less on documented occurrences, the moments captured in pictures and videos should be a ringer. However, social media took notice real quick when Britney's iconic denim dress turned into a denim jumpsuit. I didn't notice that. I never took Britney to be much of a fashionista, but I do remember that photo, but I didn't catch that in the movie. But yeah, that was something else too. Also, a bit of sidebar, really small, small little detail. When Britney Spears was on the photo shoot in the red dress, she actually wiped fried chicken grease onto the dress, not ribs or, like, you know, barbecue sauce. But yeah, I didn't catch that one. All right. The next misstep is titled, "If You Seek Pacing." If you seek pacing, love me, hate me. I wish she would have promoted that song more. I feel like that song could have been like a pretty like major hit. You know, I wish she would have promoted "If You Seek Amy" more than just the music video. All right, so the pacing leaves you wondering if Britney ever after had trouble nailing down a firm timeline, or if the jumpiness was a storytelling device gone wrong. I mentioned that. Yeah, they were kind of all over the place with the. They didn't go in chronological order. They were all over the place, jumping from year, jumping forward, jumping backwards. Let's see. Minutes after skipping ahead to 2008, Britney is married to childhood friend Jason Alexander. A real-life event which happened in 2004 when Kevin Federline appeared Their romance is set to the soundtrack of Britney performing her 2001 cover of I Love Rock and Roll, which leads to the next misstep, a biopic against the music. As Britney didn't give her approval to the film, it was also unlikely her music would ever get used. Without her music, though, the biopic relies on the few covers Britney recorded over the years. I noticed that they didn't include the Bobby Brown My Prerogative cover. I wonder why. I guess they couldn't fit that in. Let's see. Including an odd moment of walking after midnight that left much to be desired. I didn't even know she did a cover of that song. I didn't know that she was in the studio singing that song, but I'm like, I just thought that was just some song they made up for her to sing because they didn't have any other thing for her to sing. Even with the limited singing, Britney's signature style, which has proven to be somewhat easy to recreate, fell flat. So they're saying basically the singing in the movie didn't really sound like reminiscent of Britney, her signature sound, when she does, the fans call it, the baby doll voice or her baby voice, and she's like, oh baby, baby. Well, she doesn't really do it in Baby One More Time, but like, oops, I did it again, like, I think I did it again. uh, I made you believe we're more than just friends. Oh, baby, it might seem like a crush, but it doesn't mean that I'm serious. You know, but yeah, they weren't able to capture that. That essence of Britney. Everybody and their mom think they can do a good imitation of Britney Spears singing. You know, I'm I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying. All right, let's move on to the next misstep. All right, not a genius, not yet an idiot. That's a good one. No one ever claimed Britney was an intellectual, but as a businesswoman with a career spanning 2 decades, actually it's 3 decades, she's clearly not stupid. Yeah, they did have Britney kind of looking a bit stupid in this movie, like some just southern hit, and they have saying y'all an awful lot too. Y'all, y'all, come and see my tour bus, y'all. I'm like, y'all need to stop talking, or y'all need to get out of here. Oh yeah, something that randomly popped up. Like Brittany and Justin were on a beach and like their house, our beach house got robbed, and they robbed some like tapes of Justin and Brittany. I remember that actually happening. I kind of thought it was a bit weird that they put it in the movie just because it wasn't really that big of a media issue or like a big of a media story. I just thought that was a bit odd that they put that in the story. Um, let's see. So the biopic paints Britney as helpless, ignorant, and at times completely incompetent. Yeah, and the thing is, I'm like, they didn't show Britney working hard, learning dance steps, singing in the studio. Not really, not all that much. They didn't really emphasize it. They showed it a little bit, but not as strongly as I would have liked for them to have shown it. You know, Britney Spears put in so much work to get to where she, is now. Even before she came on the scene, she was like in the Mickey Mouse Club. She was doing performances or like, gymnastics, and performing in just gymnastic competitions. She went to New York and was the understudy for the Broadway play Ruthless. You know, and there was a little, maybe a slight little bit of shade thrown from her Mickey Mouse peers, a couple of them, because they were like they didn't expect for Britney Spears to be a music star, but they said it was because they just didn't know that Britney Spears was interested in music versus Christina Aguilera, which they knew where she was interested in music, you know. But yeah, Britney Spears, left the Mickey Mouse Club and is the most successful alumni from the Mickey Mouse Club, the most successful um, alumni period from the Disney Channel. So kudos to you. Like kudos to Britney. Like she did the thing. Like who touching Britney Spears right now? You know, like the Billboard 2016 performance entrance said, the undisputed princess of pop. Who 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 gonna snatch her title from her? Who name someone who can snatch the title from Britney Spears? Her impact, her record sales, her music, her dance moves. The younger generation may not be so privy to Britney Spears because they came up, maybe they came in when like 2007, seeing Britney during her crazy era. But Britney Spears came with good music performances, though. People criticize her singing voice, and saying it's not like anything special or anything like that. Which it's an argument, definitely. But like what solidified her was she was a strong performer, though. That's the thing. Britney Spears put on great performances. So, and while she was lip syncing, like a lot of people let it slide, even though she does get criticized for it. But folks let it slide because she was just putting on such a great show. Back in during the Crazy 2000 tour, she was lip syncing, and then the media was covering it, and they were saying like, "Oh, she lip syncing her performances," which led her to do pre-recorded vocals for the "Oops, I Did It Again" tour. And then something similar happened when she was performing on the Circus tour, and then on the Femme Fatale tour, she did the pre-recorded vocals again. And when it comes to pre-recorded vocals, Britney Spears just records the vocals again to make it sound live instead of just using the studio vocals. But at this point, Britney Spears is, for her Vegas residency, she just using straight up studio vocals. And these vocals be straight up auto-tuned to the max too. I'm like Britney, you can just step it up a little bit more. But I feel like Britney Spears is kind of slowly getting back her dance mojo. Because for a while, I thought Kevin Federline got her dance moves in the divorce settlement. But I think she might be getting her dance mojo back. All right, so back to this article. As a Kentwood, Louisiana native, interesting fact, she was actually born in, I think, somewhere in Mississippi, like Macomb, Mississippi or something. But she was raised in Kentwood, Louisiana. All right, so as a Kentwood, Louisiana native, her accent was expected to play its own role, but Britney Ever After turned young Britney into a mouth-gaped, open hick capable of only saying y'all. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, another random thing that I want to say, like, they kind of, let's see, I guess I already mentioned that. All right, so I'll move on. All right, the next misstep is titled "From the Bottom of My Broken Casting." Um, and someone wrote a tweet saying, "Was this biopic directed by Kellyanne Conway? Because it's honestly just 1 2 hour alternative fact." But this says, it's difficult to cast a true life story with a whole set of actors who look and sound like their counterparts. But the arguable leads, Britney and Justin, left something to be desired. If anyone should be cutting a check to Lifetime, it should be Kevin Federline, whose acting compliment and Kevin Shitty gave a pretty incredible six-pack scene. That's what I saw that. I clocked that. I was like, Kevin Federline ain't got no six-pack. Maybe at one point, but when I saw them beach photos of him and Britney, that six pack turned into a keg. Yes. Um, Fortunately, casting never attempted to find a Madonna. Yeah, that was back when they did that performance of. Well, they showed Britney leaving the performance of the 2003 VMAs with Madonna and Christina Missy Elliott. All right. The next one is, and I think this is the last one. It is titled "Hold It Against Justin." All right. Hopefully, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel took the night off because Britney Ever After came for JT pretty hard. Speculation that relied on the belief that Justin was a mess. Let's see, was a mess led to a characterization that left Justin Timberlake as sleazy, over sexual. Excuse me. As sleazy, over sexual. Okay, guilty. That's what they put. Parentheses. Okay, guilty. And cold. Of course, that ended in an alleged dance-off, as all true early 2000 feuds do. We'll never know who won, if it really happened. Okay, so yeah, there was this scene in the movie where Britney and Justin, like Britney is at this club with her friend. She sees Justin Timberlake with this other chick who may or may not be a backup dancer, and Britney Spears like, nuh-uh. She's like, uh-uh. So Britney Spears goes over, and this would probably wouldn't have been a good time for Britney Spears to bust out with like, "Don't go knocking on my door. I gotta stay away for sure." But we were past the "Oops, I Did It Again" era though. But yeah, Britney Spears confronted Justin Timberlake, and then somehow they kind of like Justin left with his girl, and then Britney followed him, and then she started dancing. And this actress, Natasha Bassett, claimed herself that she's not a strong dancer. But how you gonna do a biopic pic of Britney Spears, who is known to give very iconic and very strong performances, not be a good dancer? How'd that happen? She tried. She did something. But yeah. I didn't. Did that actually happen? Did that actually happen though? And Britney Spears and Justin had a dance off in the club. Like, I guess Justin is doing like NSYNC choreography, like bye 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 bye, and what Britney Spears is doing like like toxic choreography, or like "Oops, I Did It Again" or something like "Oops, I Did It Again." Yeah. But yeah, yeah. I've gone on for long enough about this movie, but I did this for the fans, the super fans, and also to help educate the young folk. I kind of, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I guess I'm a little bit older than I think I am if I'm talking about the younger people now. But yeah, there are younger fans of Britney who are just, perhaps learning about Britney, because Britney Spears came out before they were probably even born, so they didn't know about Britney Spears until maybe their parents may have introduced her, or they just heard about her in the media. But yeah, like the younger fans, this is partially why I did this video too, to help educate the younger fans and show them like what Britney Spears is really about, what she really brings to the table, because this movie ain't show that. This movie didn't show that. This movie just showed Britney Spears just some blonde chick that perhaps may have had a music career, but more so was just had a lot of personal problems in her life. But Britney Spears, thankfully, because I thought this movie was just going to focus solely on 2007. Thankfully, they did not do that. As we all know, Britney Spears is more than just Britney Spears 2007. We know that. The fans know that. And even folks who aren't fans know that, you know, unless they just want to be just straight up haters, you know, useless haters, they can at least give Britney, you know, some props, you know, because Britney Spears was, you know, one of those musical artists who, when they came out, like, they weren't just another musical artist. They were like a phenomenon. You know, they changed the game in a way. You know, they really, like a game changer. You know, like a trendsetter. You know, iconic. Like, you know, they set when they raised the standard and they became the standard. You know, like I said, folks was getting a lot of the white female artists, and even, you know, the non-white females, some of them were getting Britney Spears comparisons. Like, a lot of female artists at one point were getting compared to Britney Spears. You know. So yeah, I did this partially for the young fans and partially for, you know, the fans who are like, what? You know, like, trying to just be a voice for them, you know. The fans who be like, what? You crazy. No. But yeah, you know, just want to help the younger fans and show them that, you know, Britney Spears is more than just Britney Spears 2007. You know, Britney Spears actually does have a career that's very iconic, a career that's very influential, a career that, you know, set the bar, you know, a career that is just, you know, a phenomenon. She didn't earn the title the Princess of Pop for nothing. You know, some fans might be looking at Britney Spears performances now, you know, the younger fans are like, you know, this doesn't seem like all that, you know. But, you know, which they could have a point at times, at least. But look back previously. That's the reason why she's still here. She put in that work for her first, you know, the first 4 albums or so. That's part of the reason why she's here. That era cemented Britney Spears in pop music history. You know, Britney Spears may not be on the charts as much as she used to, but her musical legacy makes her relevant. Her musical legacy is the reason why she can have a residency in Vegas. You know, is the reason why she didn't just fall off the map and just turn into, like, you know, every other musical act that come in the music industry. You know, but let me bring this video to a close. You know, I could go on for probably another hour, but let me bring this music video to a close. Thanks a lot for watching, you guys. If you got to the end, thanks. You know, thanks for feeling me out if you got to the end of this video. I hope you were able to. If you did get to the end, let's see. Type the phrase, "if you seek Britney," if you got to the end of this video. Again, if you leave a comment, or just, you know, want to just let me know you got to the end, type "if you seek Britney" with your comment, or as your comment. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, you guys. Adios and goodbye for now.